Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the Hasbro Ultimate Spider-Man vs. Sinister 6 Marvel's Rhino. Rhino is recommended for ages 4 and up, and it comes to us under the banner of the Ultimate Spider-Man vs. the Sinister 6. This was also available at the same time, as on the same shelf as the Web Warriors, which I really don't think was all that different from one another, but the Rhinos are drastically different. You'll see in a future video. But the Ultimate Spider-Man versus Sinister 6, not a show really I'm super crazy about watching. I think by having too many Spider-Man, they seem to think one Spider-Man is popular. Perhaps if we incorporate 75 Spider-Man, I don't know how many Spider-Man are in the show, I think there's like 6, kind of dilutes an interest in Spider-Man, at least speaking from my standpoint. Spin around the back of the package though, there's clearly the Rhino there in all his wondrous splendor. A read-up says able to charge at almost 100 miles per hour. Alexei Sitsevich, that's always a word, that's always a name that throws me, demolishes whatever or whoever gets in his way. Also look for Spider-Man with his Street Side Racer, oh boy. There's also Original Spider-Man, which I think I've reviewed, and Green Goblin, which these are also a lot of times paired together. You can get them in a 2-pack. I think sometimes they're a little bit more cheaper, a little more reasonably in price as well. Check out more from Hasbro. Check out more from Spider-Man. Check out more from www.hasbro.com/Spider-Man. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the Hasbro Ultimate Spider-Man versus the Sinister 6 Marvel's Rhino. There's more heading your way. Don't go anywhere. Now that we have the Rhino out of packaging, let's get a better look at the figure. He's misleadingly light. He's not as heavy as you might think he is. How heavy would you say this Rhino might be? 25 pounds? No, that's extremely off. That's not even I don't even think that's really a suitable guess. The Rhino, I don't know if I don't have a scale necessarily here. I can just put down and give you a read. But he is very light. I don't know, the culprit might be because his torso feels hollow. Not hollow that you could squeeze it like a dog toy, but it does feel a little on the hollow side. He's also very unintimidatingly small. Let's bring in the Iron Spider. Now granted, this is the Iron Spider from the Web Warriors line, and I do know that there's a Rhino from the Web Warriors line as well, which is a lot taller, but clearly stacking these two different lines together, Rhino looks like he's absolutely no threat to speak of. Let's move him out of the way. This actually was just the only thing I had on hand as a comparison, but it's still Spider-Man, Spider-Man related. Put him to the side. All right, so let's have a look at the Rhino. He's different, I'll give him that. He's also very spiky. Let's say that he's very spiky. He's got spikes all over his shoulder pads. He's also got spikes on his knuckle area of his fists, and of course the big noticeable Rhino spike that's on his forehead. The face is okay. Kind of also looks like a Transformer to me, although he does not transform into anything. Some might say he transforms into a crap toy. Well, actually, no, that's not true. He was already a crap toy. He does have open hands, or at least partially closed hands, suitable for holding an accessory. Does he come with an accessory? No, he does not. No. If anyone was waited with bated breath to find out if he does not. He can now breathe. Coloring-wise, he's not terrible. I mean, the majority of the color obviously is gray. Rhino has always been a real gray colored character. I would say the outfit as a whole, it's kind of like a purpley gray, where then he has these dark, shiny black guards on his hands, his shoulder pads, and of course around his feet there. It seems to me, I'm scratching my invisible head here. I'm scratching my head. It seems to me like the legs are a different color plastic than the top torso. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's, maybe I'm the only one that sees that. He also has a big hole in the back of his torso. I would assume usually when there's a hole in the back, it's either because it's reusing a mold or it's planned that something was going to go on the back of him. that not be the case, or could just possibly be by assembly, the way everything on him came together. To note as well, he also has peg holes on the undersides of his feet. You guessed it, Jacob, he has no display stand to speak of. One thing, though, he does have is a surprisingly large amount of posability. No, he doesn't have a lot of posability, but he does have interesting hidden articulation that I wasn't really expecting. His head doesn't rotate. In fact, when you rotate his head, what you end up doing is you start moving the area where the head's been attached to the torso. It's really not intended to be moved. It's just the way it was assembled. Legs, of course, move forward and back. You know, you could kind of have him in a running pose if you want to have him displayed like that. But then, when you get to his shoulders, his arms rotate all the way around, but then he does also have a bend in the elbow, and his hands also rotate. That threw me for a loop. I fell out of my seat. I'm like, that can't be right. And sure enough, it was there. Right there. I thought his arms would have only just done that, but nope, they actually do bend and rotate as well. Seems like it just, some would say, wasted budget on putting articulation on a figure that's so lame. It's not lame. It's not a lame figure. It's just not terribly great. Of course, we're going to be looking at the Web Warriors version of Rhino as well, which I think he's a lot bigger. He doesn't have as much of the black plastic on him, but he's about the same sort of idea. And we'll do a review of him as well so you guys can see the difference between the two. All in all, not a bad figure. I can't speak for other stores, but I know certainly the stores that I go to, this guy warms pegs like nobody's business. And then I always say, hey, this guy's warming pegs. And then that person says, that's none of your business. And I'm saying, okay, as you told me, as I go on my merry little way. But he does warm pegs. I can't speak for other places, though. If you do see this guy a lot, let me know down below. Not a bad figure, though. Not my idea of Rhino, but that being the case, today's Toy Spot, we were still, despite that, still having a look at the Ultimate Spider-Man versus the Sinister 6. We're having a look today at Rhino. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more Toy Spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.